as the hijack was happening, right, when they're turning southwestbound, we in air traffic still wanted to keep the traffic moving. So I stopped all the traffic going southwestbound out of the Boston area. Anything going west over Chicago and all that, that kept going. So the machine was still running because we still, you just can't stop it. It's motoring. The systems engineer comes in and says, hey, a plane just hit the World Trade Center. And we kind of all looked at each other and says, could it be? It was kind of disbelief. I mean, how can it hit the World Trade Center? So anyway, we said, okay, let's stop everything. And we stopped all flights, even VFR flights that, people that go out there just flying the planes for fun. We stopped them, we stopped everybody completely. And then the national edict came down to all traffic. I remember calling our Canadian counterparts out in Moncton and telling them that, hey, no airplane will enter United States territory. And they say, why, what's going on? I says, at that point we had two hijacks in progress. And I said, the possibility of them getting shot down is very likely. My fear, or our fear at that point, because the European traffic that's when it starts coming in. You start seeing traffic coming in around 9, making it into New York around 12, noontime. So all that traffic is en route. And some of those guys, I mean, there's a point of no return where you can't turn around and go back to Europe. You have to come back and then land in the United States. But Gander, there's a bunch of airports Canada did a fantastic job, and they landed all those planes also.
They had a lot of them, right?
Yes. In fact, there's a play, I believe, in Broadway, Come and Stay, Come As You Are, something that effect that talks about the Canadians taking all those planes and how the communities got together and helped all the people that were in the planes.
You were talking about Hamid, you had a tape of some of the...
Muhammad Atta?
Yeah.
Yes.
How did that come about?
Radio transmissions are recorded, right? I mean, everything is recorded. And they sent this individual downstairs to the tape room to find out what was said that made him say that there was a hijack. So he took that section of communications, because what happened, right, this isn't an assumption, the pilot was holding on to the key to mic. Yeah. And Muhammad Atta was talking behind him, and he said blah blah blah. Everybody be okay, and that's gonna. And by the pilot hanging on to the yoke.
It was great that he was able
yes.
to do that.
It was there was a key to let us know what was going on, because otherwise we would not have known till a lot later.
And the jets that you called up, could you go into a little more detail as to how they approach that kind of a situation? I mean, do they actually go right to the jet that's in trouble? Like,
well, I mean, what happens on a typical hijack, what they'll do is just flight follow them. They'll be 5 miles or X amount of miles behind them, and unbeknownst that they're being trailed. So the plane is continuing. These guys are back here just making sure that everything's fine. In this situation, obviously, I mean, the guys at Otis Air Force Base, I mean, they didn't get there in time for one. I mean, there's no way they would have got there in time. Right. And even if they did, I don't think anybody, I don't care who was president or who was in charge, would have initiated, to shoot them down. I think I got there at 5:30 in the morning. I think I left the facility like at 7 at night.
Yeah.
Because then we tried to get once we stopped everything. I mean that there was a nationwide stop. Now how do you start back up? You really can't just turn the switch and let everybody fly again, because you don't know if there's more trouble. So we went through the little process for a little bit. Calling Northeast Air Defense saying, hey, this flight wants to go from Albany to New York to set up a triage, get him a code. Okay, it's a known, it's a friend, not a foe, and he departs and goes and comes in. So I mean, I had friends that were stuck in Indianapolis that had gone to conferences. I said, I can get you back, you know, and nope. And I thought I had, you know, some clout, but I didn't.
Not in that situation.
Not in that situation.
How long does it take to clear the skies?
It takes quite a while, yes, I mean, because these, you know, you have to put everything down. I mean, it helps that, you know, once you do a ground stop, you know, you stop everything that's in place, so you're not going to get any more. So that kind of lessens it. But I want to say it took 3 to 4 hours to get everybody down, you know. And I think there's some cool videos out there on by YouTube showing some of the scopes, a replay of it, and just how it just kind of all goes down. The only thing that you see after that is military flights circling the major hubs.
How many air traffic, how many planes does an air traffic controller handle at a time? Is it just one or two?
It depends on the geographical area that you're working. I mean, as it gets busier, like as you're working into like a major metropolitan, your airspace gets smaller, basically, so you handle less. But I mean, so like in the flyover states, just for instance, like Colorado out there, I mean, big areas. I mean, there's a lot of flights. I mean, but they're just flight following, so they're just going east and west, north and south. Where you're working into the Boston area, the New York Metro, you're having all these flights there. You're sequencing them in, you're vectoring and turning them in, and you know, just so. And I guess to answer your question, probably I would say the range would be 12 to 25, I guess. You know, comfortably. I mean, there's times that you work a lot more.
So, when a plane takes off from Boston, it's obviously talking to the Boston Tower.
Yes.
Then what?
Boston Tower, then Boston, and I should have probably gone through that initially, but so the airspace is split up. You have the tower almost like 5 miles around their airspace from the tower, and they only go up a couple thousand feet, if that. And then from there, in Merrimack, there's a facility. It's called Boston Tracon, and they own airspace another 40 miles around Boston, and they go up to like 14,000 feet. And from there is the en route structure, and that's what I worked as the en route. So it's all high altitude from 14,000 to infinity. So we do, I mean, these missile launches that are happening now, we clear the airspace to make sure that these guys get off, and then, you know, the Bezos going up for the joyrides, you know, those guys, and
So was American 11, did that ever reach your altitude?
oh yes, yeah, and that's where the whole communication would happen. As he's departing, he's going west, obviously, and they lose the frequency. But before they lost the frequency, well, before they lost communications, they heard that transmission by ATA, and that's where the whole thing started to roll. And then after losing communications, they lost the transponder. And he continues chugging towards Albany, and then he goes. Either he had a GPS coordinates for the World Trade Center, or he just followed the Hudson River. You know, to me, either one would work. It's
It'd be easy to find, I would think.
yes, I mean it's a big old structure, you know. So, and if you guys have never been there, you should take a trip out there. I mean, to see the memorial there in New York. It's very somber. I mean, it's an amazing. When you see the footprint of it, it's just mind-boggling how big those things were.
Did the government interview you or
Yes.
anything afterwards?
Yes. Yeah, I was part of the 9/11 Commission.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know if you've seen the book. It's kind of thick, and but that was interesting. I mean, going down to Dulles, I think I flew into Dulles. Me and a few people. They sat us all. There was 8 people in my that I was in charge of that morning, and they kind of all sat us together and said, "Hey, what were you doing? What were you seeing? What were all these things?" And it was kind of because you forget a lot, and even though that just happened, you just don't remember. Or he says, "Oh no, you were doing this." Like, "Oh yeah,"
Was it chaotic in the office? I mean, you can't have done this with no knot in your stomach.
No, I want to say it wasn't chaotic. It was, no, it wasn't chaotic. It was duty, I guess. It was just things that you knew to do. You had to do, and you just went on your discipline and just carried the mission out.
Thank you so much.